Well, hello there. Welcome back to the Wedding Tea. It's Desiree here, and I hope you enjoyed Lost Her Mind because I have another story for you. Now, let me say this. I'm not sure it's going to be a two-parter like the last story, but we'll see. I'm just going to start sharing the details with you, and it'll pan out as it does. Let me set this down. Now, this story is called Who's Her Daddy? Let me repeat that for you. Who's her daddy? Yeah, I said. Now, you've probably already created some scenario in your mind based on that title, but rest assured, what you're thinking definitely is not the case when it comes to who's your daddy. But let me begin. Let me share some of the details with you about this one. This is another one of my couples. Yes, a wedding that happened some years ago at a beautiful venue in downtown Chicago. Kind of has like a garden feel to it, maybe. There are parents involved in this story, and there's a lovely couple and a backyard. Yeah, let's get started. Now, this was a couple who hired us 60 days out before the wedding. Oh, let me change that. Actually, the mother of the bride hired my company 60 days out before the wedding, meaning they had pretty much planned everything themselves. They had hired all of the creative partners, all of the vendors, venue selected, etc., etc. So we needed to come in and take over 60 days out, put the timeline together, contact the vendors, let them know they have a wedding director that will be on site, handle all of those last minute details, and of course, implement the wedding day. Simple, right? At least that's what I thought. Oh, and allow me to share one more very important detail with you. The parents of the bride were paying for this wedding. The mother, the father, and the mother has remarried, meaning the bride has a stepfather. Remember that. All right, let's fast forward to 72 hours before the actual wedding day. I received a call from the downtown venue letting me know that they had a balance, a pretty hefty balance, a balance of $17,000 that needed to be paid by Friday. All right. So I reach out to the mother and I says, hey, just making sure that you're aware that there's a balance still due at the venue. They're waiting for it. Could you contact them? You know, all of the things, right? Mom says, oh, no worries. The father of the bride is actually going to take care of that because he's paying for half the wedding. The mother and the stepfather had already paid their $17,000 to the venue. So the remaining balance was to be paid for by dad. Now let's move to the eve before the wedding, typically known as rehearsal day. There also might be a welcome party, those fun activities that happen the night before the wedding. Well, my team and myself were heading to the downtown venue on the way for rehearsal. Let me say that again. We were in vehicles heading downtown to have the rehearsal when I received a phone call from the venue letting me know that the wedding was canceled. Excuse me? Canceled? She says, yes, the wedding is canceled. I'm so confused because I didn't get the memo that the wedding was canceled. Did something happen? Did they forget to call me? I don't know what's going on. So I asked her, I said, well, what has happened? She goes on to share with me that she needed that check, that $17,000 check by 3 p.m. It's now 5 o'clock. All right. The wedding is supposed to happen in 24 hours to 5 o'clock. And I've just learned that the wedding is canceled, meaning this couple no longer has a place to hold their ceremony, their cocktail hour, and their reception because daddy didn't pay the bill. So I stopped in my tracks. Well, actually, I stopped the car. I pull over, in all honesty, I pull over and I contacted mom. I'm like, Mom, hey, hi, how are you doing, dear? I was just reaching out to find out, were you aware that the wedding wasn't going to be taking place at this beautiful garden in the downtown Chicago area? She seemed shocked. I says, well, maybe you want to call the venue immediately. So I stay over to the side of the road. Mom calls me back in tears. Yeah, wedding's not happening at this downtown location. Because again, daddy didn't pay the $17,000 bill. All right, so there is a lot of commotion that is taking place hours after learning of this situation. My team and I have to go into full throttle mode, a mode that I wasn't even aware was even possible, that we can change a whole wedding over in less than 24 hours. We needed to find a new location. We needed to find a caterer. We needed the rentals to be shifted to a different location. And we needed to inform all of the guests not to head down to downtown Chicago, but to head somewhere else. Hence why I wanted you to remember the backyard. Yeah, the wedding ended up taking place in the backyard of the parents of the groom's home. Let me say that again. The parents of the groom's home, their backyard. So that entire night, me and my team are on the phone, just calling everybody, putting together a text message thread, sending out emails to try to redirect the guests. We had to find the catering company, which we did. We were able to source catering from a restaurant in the nearby area. We were able to make sure the DJ knew the location. We got the rentals redirected, et cetera, et cetera. We also had to find bathrooms because the parents didn't want guests to come into their home. Again, they weren't expecting 200 and something people to be coming to their home the next day. So we had to get porta potties. And I'm kind of talking about not the real cute ones that you might see online. I'm talking about the regular, like, Taste of Chicago porta potties. I digress. We had to do what we had to do. And so now we arrive to the morning of the wedding. We're in the backyard of the parents' home at 7 a.m. I know it was that early because I still had sleep in my eyes and the ground still had dew on it. Wasn't a pretty situation. Anywho, the rentals have arrived and we need to get tables and chairs set up and linen dropped. That all of the things that were going to take place at this venue in downtown Chicago now has to take place by our hands and in the backyard of a parent's home who, let's be honest, can I say this? They were pissed. Like, really, really, really mad. Anywho, we did what we had to do. All right, we're moving, we're hustling, we're bustling, we're trying to make it all happen because at about 12 o'clock, the bride and her bridesmaids were going to arrive to the parents' home to start hair and makeup. And here she comes. Oh, she was pretty. Distraught. She looked beautiful in the face. I have to say that. She was a beautiful young woman. The bridesmaids, pretty as ever. But they were all distraught. And who wouldn't be? You literally had your dream wedding planned for months, possibly even a year before the date, and it's not happening now because you've got to go to the backyard of your groom's parents' home because your daddy didn't pay his bill. And now your wedding day isn't what you thought it was going to be. So here comes the DE team to the rescue. We tried to do everything we possibly could to help her. Let's speed this up a little bit and get to the wedding ceremony. It does take place in a tent in the parents' backyard. There is a walk down the aisle. The bride did not walk with her father because he was not present. I wonder why. She walked down the aisle with her stepfather and her mother, and the ceremony went off beautifully as it should have. Cocktail hours going on and things are looking good. Guests seem to have adjusted to the new environment. I was standing around talking to one of the guests and I got pulled to the side. They're like, Desiree, we need to talk to you. It was a bridesmaid. I'm like, okay, girl, hey, what's going on? She tells me, come here, Daddy's here.